The anime started with our MC named Kai Sakuravento, who looks at the chained-up girl and he wonders if she's a demon or an angel. The girl asks him for help, but Kai can't believe that she would ask a human for help. Humans and other races have waged a fierce war against each other. This girl doesn't seem to know that, and Kai becomes frustrated because no one seems to remember what the real world is like. A look back shows Kai doing the normal thing he does where he monitors a graveyard. His friends want him to hurry up, but Kai takes it very seriously. In this world, there are 5 distinct races: the demons who are wielders of mighty magical powers, the celestials who are demihumans such as angels and elves, the spirits who are creatures that possess special kinds of bodies such as ghosts. There are also the mythical beasts that are colossal fierce monsters such as dragons. Then finally, there are the humans. A war waged between the 5 races, and it's incredibly important to make sure that another great war doesn't occur again. Kai belongs to the Urza Federation, and it's their obligation to observe the graveyard where the demons have been sealed away. Kai observes the graveyard for 300 seconds like always and determines that nothing is strange, so the demons are properly sealed. Kai's co-worker Ashuran High Roll can't understand why Kai takes his job so seriously, but Saki Miscati points out that it's good for them because they can take it easy. Demon has not escaped from the seal in the past 100 years, but Kai reminds his co-worker is that it's still their job. There are 4 graveyards around the world, and Kai points out that the people in charge of those take their jobs just as seriously. That's because if a demon were to get out, it would be a catastrophe. His friends wish he would take it easy because the demon hasn't broken the ceiling sometime, but Kai just doesn't want to let his guard down, and he declares that watching over the graveyard is his duty. A while later, we watch as Kai just some training, but he has warned that a low-ranked soldier like him using a mythical beast for training is incredibly dangerous. Kai fights it anyway, but he finds that his attacks don't work against it. Saki gets worried, so the hologram is deactivated, and she wishes Kai wouldn't push himself so far. Kai thinks it would be pointless to train though, if he didn't risk everything. Saki actually kind of admires his determination, and she thinks that if he were alive during the Great War, his name would have gone in the history books. Kai would be like the prophet named Sid, but Kai can't see himself winning against a certain 4 heroes like Sid did. Saki describes each hero from each of the 4 races, and she couldn't imagine what they would do if they were still around. Thankfully, Prophet Sid was able to defeat them using the shining sword given to him by a god named Arsla Salaka. There is plenty of evidence that the 4 heroes existed, but there's actually no proof of the Prophet Sid. There are no pictures or videos of him. Saki changes the subject as their friend Jeanne is being promoted and she wants to celebrate. Jeanne is getting transferred to headquarters at just 17 years old, and she is the youngest person in history to be selected. She's an elite among elites, so they have to get her more than a bouquet like Ashuran suggested. Just then Kai received a message from Jeanne and Ashuran reads it out loud. Jeanne wants to meet with Kai, but she wants him to keep it a secret from Saki and Ashuran. Kai tries to cover it up by saying that the message isn't really from Jeanne, but it's too late, and Ashuran wonders if Kai has a secret relationship with Jeanne. The friends try to get more information, but Kai just decided to go for a run. The next morning, Kai meet with Jeanne, and he's glad to see that she's on time because she is usually late for everything. She wonders why Kai isn't wearing such fancy clothes while off duty, so he explains that he just came from the morning self-training that he does every day. Jeanne has him accompanied her while she does some shopping, and she explains that she's looking for gifts for Saki and Ashuran. She knows that they're planning to get her something, so she wants to give them something in return. Jeanne says that she probably will never see them again, but Kai is sure that she will be back as a cadet after her transfer is over in 2 years. Jeanne predicts that they will have finished their service in the military by then and they will be civilians. Only herself and Kai will likely still be in the military. Kai agrees with her, but he can tell that she is upset. He knows what's wrong and tells her not to worry, as he is sure that she will surpass her father, the Urza headquarters chief. The two continue enjoying the day, but Kai doesn't pay much attention to what Jeanne is shopping for as he is looking for something for himself. In the end, Jeanne thanks Kai for helping her pick out some good gifts. The two then discuss how Jeanne's father took Kai to inspect the graveyard when he was 10 years old. He wandered into the graveyard, and when he came home he told everyone how he saw Sid's sword. Kai has a memory of what it was like inside the graveyard and how he almost touched the shining sword. This was the day when Kai started talking about how important it is to make sure that the demons don't escape from the graveyard. Jeanne wonders where they will be in the future, but Kai points out that she will simply be back in 2 years. That isn't what she meant though, as she is talking about after that. Jeanne wants them to make a promise for the future, but Kai begins to panic as something strange begins to happen. Jeanne has no clue why he's behaving so strangely, so Kai begins to wonder if he's the only one seeing what's happening. Jeanne continues to talk like nothing is happening, but Kai is horrified as she is sucked up into a black hole. Just then, a mysterious voice announces that the world reincarnation has been activated, and it's time to execute the overriding of the world. Moments later, Kai snaps out of it to find himself in a dark and destroyed world. He is then startled with a gigantic and terrifying-looking demon appears before him. The fearsome beast uses a magic attack on Kai, and Kai just barely manages to survive by using his sword case as a shield. Kai can't believe that a real demon is standing in front of him, and it prepares another powerful-looking attack. Kai rushes to his sword and quickly loads some bullets into it. His weapon is pretty diverse, as he's able to fire bullets from it, and he cancels the demon's magic. The demon can actually speak, and it is shocked by Kai's cancellation ability. Kai explains he has modified elven bullets that are created using elven magic. The demon just continues attacking, but Kai shows his incredible fearlessness as he closes the gap between himself and the demon. Kai's sword is unable to penetrate the demon's skin, but he uses the opportunity to fire a shot at point-blank range. The exhausted Kai explains that the bullet he just used was the modified Drake bullet that reproduces mythical beast breath. It was his first time using it, but Kai is glad to see that he's able to move just like he does in training. This victory has made him confident that he can actually fight real-life demons. Just then, another demon appears and states how laughable it is that a human thinks that can defeat demons. Kai is impressed by how well the demon speaks human language, but the demon explains that the most effective way to give orders to a slave is by using its own language. Kai doesn't understand why the demon is calling him a slave, but there is no time to think. The demon says that Kai smells dangerous, so he prepares to eliminate him. Just then, someone rescues Kai by using a flashbang and they get away. This girl tells her group that the Wanderer has been secured and she has to know where Kai is from. Kai is shocked to see that this girl is Saki, but she has no clue how he knows her name. Kai reminds her that they are friends, but she has never seen him before and neither has Ashuran. Kai can't understand why they don't remember him, so he reminds them that they are from the same agency. They don't know what he's talking about, and they explain that there are simply soldiers of their resistance. Kai is now the one to be confused, so Saki goes on to say that they're with the human rebel army. This just causes more confusion, so Kai asks them to tell them everything about this world. Ashuran and Saki assume that he's just flustered from facing a demon. He must have forgotten things, so they try and help him remember. They explain that there was a great war of the 5 races and humanity lost. Kai is shocked, of course, because in his world humanity actually won. Ashuran goes on to say that they lost the war over 30 years ago, and cities around the world were taken over by the 4 other races. As for the humans, they're barely managing to survive while running and hiding. The 4 other races now rule the world, and they fight each other over territory. Ashuran and Saki then introduce Kai to the human city called Neo-Vishal. A group of humans took an underground space that was still intact and remodeled it into an underground city. The resistance protected people living there by fighting the 4 races. Kai wonders why the humans lost the Great War, but it's pretty obvious to Ashuran and Saki. They point to how powerful the demon he just saw was and explain that they attack humans in groups and the humans don't stand a chance at beating them. Not only that, but each of the races has a powerful boss that they refer to as a hero, and these heroes are incredibly strong individuals. All this sounds pretty familiar to Kai, so he wonders what happened to Prophet Sid, humanity's savior. Kai is shocked to hear that they have never heard of Prophet Sid, so he explains that he's supposed to be the human hero who defeated the 4 races. Ashuran correctly points out that if they had anyone like that, they would have to live underground like they are. Just then the main core arrives and Ashuran explains that there are several human cities around the world. There are resistance groups in each one, and they are overseen by the main core. The commander of the resistance is someone that has saved many lives, and Kai can't believe his eyes when this person turns out to be Jeanne, especially because everyone thinks she's a guy. Ashuran and Saki introduce Kai to the commander and they explain that his memory is a bit foggy. Jeanne begins to leave, but I can't take all this, and he stops her. He tries to remind Jeanne about who he is and how they were just shopping a few moments ago. Jeanne, of course, has no clue what he's talking about, and she assumes that he has her mistaken for someone else. Kai can't believe that she really doesn't know who he is, so he asks her why she's pretending to be a guy. Jeanne is shocked to hear this, and Kai reminds her that she wanted to surpass her father as his daughter. A soldier named Falin Ubikatasu stops him, and Jeanne decides to just leave. Kai's new friends worry about him and tell him that he should get some rest. That night, Kai looked through some historical documents and finds that the only records missing are those of himself and Prophet Sid. Just then Kai realizes something. If Sid never existed and humanity lost the Great War, then why did the graveyards is the only way the four races still exist? Then next day, Kai asks Saki, talking about the graveyards, she has never heard of them. Ashuran lets Kai borrow the car, which upsets Saki, but Ashuran says that it was just a reflex. Kai arrives at the graveyard and thinks about how this is his first time going alone. He's surprised to find that the blockade stone was removed, and he goes inside. The darkness soon turns to light, and Kai is amazed when he sees the shining sword sitting there. This proves to him that the legends of Sid must be true. Kai pulls the sword from the mantle, and a loud voice gives Kai the world coordinate key and calls it the Codeholder. Just then a giant shining door opens in front of him, and Kai hears a girl calling for help. Kai is shocked to see that he's not in the graveyard anymore, and he goes up some large stairs. At the top, he finds a ton of chains being used to restrain just one girl. Her wings look like they belong to both demons and angels, and the girl begs Kai to free her from the chains. The story continues. We see the girl says her name is Rinnne, but Kai can't be sure as she passes out. Kai doesn't think she looks like a demon, so he looks for a way to free her. Kai warns that she better not attack him after he frees her, but he finds that he is unable to break the chains. A more powerful attack fails as well, so he's out of options because he doesn't have another weapon. Just then Kai wonders if he can use the shining sword, so he says the words Codeholder. This causes his weapon to start glowing, and Kai is shocked to see that it transforms into Sid's sword. Using the sword causes massive damage, and the chains are easily broken. The girl is freed, but Kai is startled when she jumps away from him. She angrily screams for someone named Vanessa to come out, and she declares that she hasn't lost to her yet. She thinks that Kai is a wimpy little ranked demon that Vanessa sent to defeat her, so she attacks and demands him bring out Vanessa. Kai managed to dodge her first attack, but her second one is terrifying. Just then Kai hears a voice say that the Codeholder can sever fate. Kai uses the shining sword and shocks the girl as he slices right through her attack. Kai even surprises himself, and the girl demands to know what he just did. She still calls him a weak demon, but Kai shows her that he doesn't have wings or a tail. Kai asked her to start trusting him, so she apologizes. She has a serious grudge against demons, which makes Kairi realize that she must not be one. Kai wonders what race she is, but she doesn't think that's important. She thanks him for saving her life, and she even apologizes for attacking Kai, but she begs him not to ask about her race. They introduce themselves, and Rinnne explains that she doesn't know where they are. She was fighting Vanessa, and before she knew it, she was imprisoned in this place. Kai is shocked because Vanessa is the hero of the demons, and she is known as the Dark Empress. This means that Rinnne is really strong, and she confidently declares that she could wipe out a whole army of demons. Rinnne is amazed by Kai for canceling her magic, but they are interrupted when a monster appears. This monster sounds like a robot as it announces their threat level to the new world is determined to be the worst. They barely manage to dodge the monster's attacks, so they decide to just run for their lives. Getting away proves to be difficult as the monster is able to teleport itself, and it captures Rinnne. Rinnne then screams in pain as the monster begins to eliminate her, and Kai gets furious at himself for just standing and watching. His frustration causes him to act, so he told Sid that he will be borrowing his sword, and his incredible attack frees Rinnne. The monster stunned to see the forbidden sword, and she wonders what it's doing there. Just then a portal opens, and Kai and Rinne escape back to the world. Rinnne expresses how scared she was and reveals that this is the first time anyone has ever done something like this for her. She was told by the Celestials, the spirits, and even the mythical beasts that she is not one of them. The demons were the coolest to her, as they called her an unsightly abomination. This is what caused her to get into a fight with Vanessa. Kai can relate because no one remembers him, and he feels like he's all alone in this world. Kai says that his world was totally different because in this one demons have taken over all the cities. Just then Rinnne explains that in her version of the world that demons haven't taken over. Just before her fight with Vanessa, the demon started saying that the hero of the humans had just arrived. Kai is in disbelief as he thinks that this is Sid, but Rinnne doesn't know who he was. Kai is still relieved because Rinnne seems to remember some history he does. Kai thinks that they're pretty similar, and Rinnne just happy to hear that because no one has ever said that to her before. Outside, Rinnne collapses and Kai offers to take her to the underground city. Rinnne is afraid to go to a human city though because she can't trust anyone. Rinne does trust Kai though because he saved her life, so she agrees to go with him. Back in his room, Kai thinks about how difficult Rinne made the trip back. She was able to hide her wings, but she still stuck out like a sore thumb. She even tried to use magic right in the middle of the city, but Kai can't blame her because she's surrounded by strangers in a strange place. Kai's weapon was reverted back to normal, so he considers trying to change it back. He is interrupted though when Rinne needs help shutting off the shower. Rinne thinks it's really unfair how humans shower with such warm water because she used to have to shower in freezing cold lakes and rivers. A soft bed is something new to her as well. She did notice that the city on the surface was in ruins, making it clear that the demons really have taken over. Kai has also determined that this world is a world where the results of the war among the 5 races is inverted. Rinne simply says that they need to escape this world and return to theirs with the correct history, but Kai isn't sure there's a way to do that. In the middle of the night, Rinne wakes up and wants that the demons have arrived. The city comes under attack and citizens are told to immediately evacuate to a shelter. It's an enemy race invasion and Kai emerges to see how terrifying things are. Kai knew that this version of the world was in bad shape, but seeing how far humanity has been cornered makes him realize how dire the situation is. What's worse is that there is no one who can save humanity. Rinne holds on to Kai, but he apologizes and tells her to let him go. He has realized that there's only one person in this world who can play the role of Sid, and that is him. The demons continue to terrorize the city and all attacks against them fail. Saki is sent to get a more powerful weapon, but she quickly finds herself in danger. A demon's about to eviscerate her, but Kai manages to save her just in time. Saki is shocked when Kai tells her to use water against these demons, and he explains that the water makes it hard for them to fly. Just then Ashuran is the one to be in danger as he starts getting turned to stone, but Kai rescues him as well. Kai comes under the attack of 2 demons, but he masterfully avoids danger and Rinne backs him up with a magic attack. Kai impressed by how powerful she is, and she declares that she wants to fight alongside him. Kai's friends have never seen attacks like the ones Kai used, so Kai explains that he came from a world where humans won the Great War of the 5 races. His fighting style and the bullets he uses come from that world. His friends find that hard to believe, but they're interrupted when the report reveals that 2 demons escaped. This means that the demons were just scouting the city and will likely return with even more demons. They need to report back to the rebel army headquarters, so they ask Kai to come with them. Kai is hesitate at first, but his friends are assured that it won't be a problem because of how powerful he is. The headquarters is located in the royal capital. The royal capital was destroyed, but this makes it the perfect location because the demons would never expect the headquarters to be in a place that was ruined. Kai then learns that Jeanne took over as the leader of the rebels after her father retired from an injury. Kai meets with Jeanne and the other leaders, but they find it hard to believe that he's from another world where humanity defeated the demons. It's so unbelievable that some members get upset. Kai then reveals that in his world he was childhood friends with Jeanne, and that is why he acted like they knew each other before. Kai mentions some names that seem to bother Jeanne, so she ends the meeting. Later, Kai is told that Jeanne wants to meet with them again in secret. Kai's information on the demon's weakness to water was incredibly helpful, so they might believe what he says if he continues to be correct. Kai then meets with Jeanne and she reveals that he was right. She is a girl. The only people that know she is a woman though are Falin and a few veteran executives. It turns out that the names Kai mentioned earlier were the nicknames that Jeanne used for her father and grandfather. It's pretty convincing when it comes to Kai being from another world, but Jeanne's still skeptical. Kai's knowledge and battle skills could be useful though, so trusting him is worth the risk. Jeanne then reveals that she needs his help. They're planning to team up with the other cities to surround them, repel the demons that try to invade them. If they succeed, then they won't have to abandon their city. Rinne fears ever retaliation will only draw more demons to the city, and if a high-ranking demon decides to show up, then it could blow away the entire city with just one blast of its magic. Jeanne gets frustrated as she already knows all this, but has determined that they have no other choice. Kai shocks everyone though when he suggests that there's only one demon they should be aiming for, and that is the hero of the demons, the Dark Empress Vanessa. Jeanne can't believe that he's really suggesting that because Vanessa is an absolute monster. 30 years ago, she wiped out the capital's defense force and occupied the government palace all by herself. Kai knows just how dangerous she is, but he also knows that the only thing that's going to work on a monster like her is Sid's sword, the Codeholder, because of how dangerous his idea is. Kai suggests that he and Rinne will be the only ones to fight Vanessa directly. He explains that in his world, a man named Sid defeated Vanessa all by himself. Jeanne wonders if Kai is able to do the same, but he's just hoping so. Jeanne then wonders why Kai's doing all this for. and he agrees that it sounds pretty crazy for him to put himself in such danger for a world that he doesn't belong to. However, Kai has given it a lot of thought. His friends thought so hard for their lives, and he wouldn't be able to escape and return to his world if he didn't do something to help them. Kai goes back to talking about his plan and explain that demon forces are mostly deployed near the border because they're looking out for the other three races and not worrying too much about the humans. The demons near the royal capital likely only makes up for about 10% of the demon force. While he fights Vanessa, he would like the rebel army to keep the other demons occupied. Jeanne is confident that they can keep the demons busy for a couple hours, but she is sure that a lot of lives will be lost in the process. Just then Falin reveals that behind the palace there's a private underground shrine line that the royal family used as refuge. No one knows about it, and Jeanne's father was the one that came up with the idea to use it against the demons. At the time, there was no one strong enough to fight the demons, so he gave up on his plan. Jeanne's father likely did until Jeanne, because he didn't want her going through with such a reckless plan. Jeanne can't believe that Falin kept this a secret, and Falin admits that she has found herself trusting on Kai's abilities as well. There is no time to hesitate as the demons are likely preparing to attack, so Jeanne declares that it's time to challenge the hero of the demons and take back the Urza Foundation. As the group prepares for their mission, Rinnne thinks about how much she hates all the races and how she hates herself the most because she's made of all the things she hates about the races. Kai is the only person that ever embraced her, so she hopes that he doesn't die on this dangerous mission. The rebel army then heads to the government palace through the underground passage. While the main forces keep the demons occupied, the plan is to free any captives in the capital and to defeat Vanessa. Saki can't believe that the four of them have to be the ones to confront Vanessa, but Kai says that they're the only people he trusts to back him up. This doesn't make Saki any less scared, so Rinnne promises that she is strong enough to beat anyone other than Vanessa. If she ends up facing Vanessa alone, then Rinnne declares that she would just self-destruct and take Vanessa with her. Ashuran fears that they will be detected by the demons, but Kai explains that the demons are really only sensitive to magic. Humans don't have magic abilities, so it should be harder for them to be noticed. Ashuran is so nervous that his hands are shaking, but he knows that if they defeat the demons they will be the talk of the world. They will be praised and maybe even rewarded. After a long drive, Jeanne gives an inspiring speech to her rebel army. She points out that they have been fighting the demons for as long as anyone can remember, and it's all been in preparation for this day. Jeanne declares that it's finally time for them to crawl out of their dark basement and have their voices heard. Everyone cheers in agreement, so Jeanne leads the charge to the surface. There, Kai is shocked to see what the government palace looks like as it is forming with demons. One demon uses a magic attack, but Kai has seen it before and he lands a counter shot. He is able to quickly finish it off, but several more demons show up. Kai and Rinne signal to each other like they know just what to do, and they use a powerful combination attack to wipe out a swarm of demons. Everyone is amazed by the attack, so Kai explains that he used a bullet manufactured in his world to combat groups of enemies. Kai decides that it's time for him to look for Vanessa, and he will start on the top floor of the north side. The north stairs have collapsed though, and they will have the breakthrough templates of stairs on the south. Jeanne then gives directions to the other groups. Group 1 is in charge of making sure that no demons get into the palace, and Group 2's job is to rescue the prisoners underground. On their way up the stairs, Falin reveals that she didn't see Kai pulled the trigger on his weapon when he launched his attack against the swarm of demons. There is no way the attack could have come from his gun. So Falin begins to suspect that Kai isn't telling them something about Rinnne. Jeanne interrupts their conversation though and brings up how Kai will be challenging Vanessa one-on-one. She hopes that Kai won't go back on his word, and he assures her that he won't. Just then Rinnne spots a little imp and it summons a large demon. This demon is clearly very dangerous as it attacks a guy in their group, but Falin springs into action to slice the demon's fingers off and she saves the guy. Falin tells the others go ahead as you can easily handle this beast, so Jeanne says that they will see her again at the top. Elsewhere, we see that the mission is going well as Group 2 makes contact with the prisoners and Group 1 fights off some demons. Back with our group, everyone gets worried when an attack is aimed right at Jeanne. Jeanne is completely unharmed after it hits her though, and she explains that she is wearing elven armor. When it comes to magical resistance, nothing is better. Jeanne tells Kai to go on ahead and he vows to keep his promise to defeat Vanessa. They leave and Jeanne declares that the demon's opponent is the Knight of the Sacred Light. Kai's group is now down to 4 and they put on some armbands that will keep the demons from seeing them. Rinnne nearly reveals her secret by explaining that she was barrier magic on the sleeves, but Kai stops her. They come up with a lie about how it works and just say that her facts lie and hide them. Just then a terrifying monster appears and Rinnne reminds everyone to stay silent. The beast gets really close to them. but they are hidden by their sleeves and the monster leaves. Kai then tells Saki and Ashuran to wait in a break room. If it looks like Kai is going to lose his fight against Vanessa, then they will have to shut off all the lights so Kai and Rinne can get away. The group splits up, but an alarm sounds soon after. Rinne has no clue how they could have been found, so Kai suspect that there must be infrared sensors in the building. A demon appears before them and he calls Rinne hideous for having strange wings. Kai shuts him up and demands to know how they were found. The demon reveals that it was Vanessa's idea to use the human surveillance system. He explains that Vanessa was actually pleased to see the humans invading and she is curious to know why they decided to end their lives this way. Kai wants this demon to take them to Vanessa since she is so happy about them being there, but the demon would rather have some fun himself. He prepares an attack and Kai is shocked when Rinne takes a hold of him. She tosses Kai to the side and tells him to go on without her. Kai refuses, but she tells him not to worry. She promises to be right behind him and she uses her ice magic to separate Kai from the fight. Kai is furious, but he has no choice but to keep going. The demon can smell every rays coming from Rinne, so he can only wonder what she is. Rinne explains that she doesn't even know what she is, but she does know that she hates demons. Rinne prepares an attack and declares that she just wants to be with Kai. If the demons plan to interfere with that, then she will eliminate them. Kai reaches the top floor and he's greeted by the Dark Empress Vanessa. Back with Jeanne and her group is doing their best, but the demon barely notices them and he calls them weak. One of his fire attacks does nothing to Jeanne and he's shocked to realize that she's wearing elven armor. Jeanne then changes her weapon into a long bow and the attack she unleashes does some devastating damage. The demon still can't believe that she used elven and angelic magic items because if they are used by humans and capable of magic, then it will chip away at their life source. The demon mocks her for sacrificing her life, but she puts an end to his life. Jeanne doesn't regret her decision at all because it's the kind of resolve a human needs in order to defeat a demon. Her sacrifice is also nothing compared to facing off against a demon hero like Kai is doing. Just then another terrifying beast will instant take Jeanne's life, but Falin arrives to rescue her. The demons know just how dangerous Falin is, as they call her Dragonar. This situation outside is getting worse and worse, so the girls determine that everything depends on Kai's fight against Vanessa. Back with Kai, Vanessa reveals that she is a succubus. She offers to love Kai, but Kai points out that the only thing she actually loves is slaughter. Vanessa mistakes him for the warrior that wear his elven armor, but Kai explains that he is someone who comes from a world where his three claims her defeat. She refuses to believe that such a world exists, and she is even more shocked when Kai tells her that humans were the ones that won the war of the races. This gives her a good laugh, as the other races are far more powerful than the humans, and she wonders who it was that defeated her. Kai says the name Prophet Sid, and she begins to whisper things like she remembers some things about Sid. She says it's nothing though and just prepares for battle. Kai quickly cancels her magic and declares that she takes humans too lightly. His counterattack does nothing though because Vanessa was using illusion magic. She's impressed by Kai's weapon because it counters her magic and unleashes an attack similar to that of a drake's breath. Her next powerful attack blows a hole right through the wall, and she curses herself for missing because she was trying to avoid causing destruction for her fortress. Vanessa warns that she uses a blast that can destroy any race and wonders what he plans to do about it. She unleashes the insanely powerful attack, and everyone around the entire palace can feel its destructive power. Vanessa declares that it's impossible to survive her attack. Only one of the heroes from each of the other four races can survive it, so she wonders why Kai is still alive. Kai thinks about how it was all thanks to Sid's sword, and Vanessa wonders where the sword came from. Just then Rinne appears to defend Kai, but he notices that she is badly wounded. Rinne refuses to let that stop her though, and she tells Vanessa to come at her. Just then a portal opens from behind Vanessa and the robotic-sounding monster from earlier grabs her. Its name is Last Riser, and she has determined that Vanessa has a high potential of influencing this world after hearing the name Sid. Vanessa realizes what's going on, but it's too late as Last Riser has already begun to remove Vanessa's code from this world. Vanessa manages to break free from her restrainers, and she turns the tables on Last Riser. Vanessa calls Last Riser a dog of someone named Alfreya, and declares that someone like her can never take her head. Vanessa shows the incredible power of a hero as she says scatter, and her attacked this massive damage. Last Riser just barely alive, so she escapes back through her portal. Kai can't believe that this Vanessa was the hero that Rinne fought, but something is wrong. Rinne says that the Vanessa from her old world was not as scary as this Vanessa. Vanessa can't understand why her wounds aren't healing, but that isn't as important as finishing her fight with Kai and Rinne. And with that, we have come to the end of this part. Stay tuned for next part. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive all the latest updates.